Welcome guys, my name is Wais. Before I start this video, I would like to show you my JavaScript course available on Udemy, which is about 27 hours long. It has about 10 plus projects. It is great for beginners. If you are a totally beginner, have not programmed in JavaScript before, then don't worry. I will start from scratch and teach you the basic concept of programming. So if you're interested in learning JavaScript, please have a look at this course. I'll drop a link to this course in the description below. Welcome back everybody, this is Awais back with another video on the channel. Today we're going to be learning a Webstorm. As it says on the website, it is the smartest JavaScript IDE. You can use Webstorm for web development, hybrid mobile application development with IONIC, any kind of Angular, React, and it has a lot of support for a lot of frameworks out there in JavaScript. So this is not a free IDE, and also this is not a sponsored video. I just use Webstorm for all my web development and also app development work, and it is great. Today I'm going to be showing you how I use it and a bit of overview about a Webstorm IDE. And I think this is the best IDE available in the market right now, which gives you so much at one place. Also, it is not very expensive. It costs about $50 a year. Okay, let's go back. So I have installed Webstorm. Here you can see I have used this for hybrid mobile application development, also for Angular JS development, also for Angular development, and also Vue and React development as well. So let's take a look at how we can create a project using Webstorm. So when you install Webstorm, you will see this is the front page. You might have seen some configuration windows where you basically install Webstorm just now. It might ask you some configuration. So now if I go click on create new project, I have a support for HTML boilerplate template, a React app, a Bootstrap, Foundation, Angular JS, Angular CLI, which means it has Angular 7 support, React Native. Wow, that's great. And it has a very strong support for Node and Express framework. It gives you a lot more than you can even think of. Automatically debugging, saving, uploading files through SSH, a lot of stuff. We'll go through this. It has a Cordova support, Yeoman, Meter apps, Vue.js, and Dart as well. So in this video, what I'll do is I will simply create an HTML boilerplate code. So I click on this HTML5 boilerplate. I'll use the version 6.1, and I'll just go, hey, test app. I'll change the name. Now click on create. It will open Webstorm, and I'm going to maximize this. Now it's downloading that package and installing it. Right now, if you look at this, is basically giving you a complete features in the Webstorm. Now nothing is showing on the screen, so let me show you what we have. First of all, let's start with a top menu bar. So on the top on the Mac, you have this Webstorm where you can go to preference, or you can see about your Webstorm. What version? I'm running 2018 2.5. It is the latest version, up to date. Also, if you have a latest version than this, if you're watching this video and after a year, you're gonna find pretty much all the similar features. So we have a preference. By clicking on preference, I can go to the Webstorm preference. We'll talk about this. Also, we have a file menu where you can create a new project. We can open another project or a folder. We can open through a URL. It'll show you recent projects. You can close project, rename your project. Also, you have something called import and export setting. For example, if you're using another tool from JetBrains, for example, they have a tool called Python for Python development. So if you have the same sort of settings done in Webstorm, you can export and import from there. Save all, synchronizations. Okay, edit mode, pretty simple operations here. Cut, copy, paste, undo, all of these features available here. Okay, this is not a tutorial for menus. Let's go and get started using Webstorm. So right now I can see I have this project explorer on the left where I can see all the files that I have in my project. So here I have a dist folder, we have a source folder. Also look at these icons, how cool are these icons. So every file, for example, a git ignore file has this git icon. An HTML file will have this nice looking HTML. For example, let me go to the source, actually not the dist folder. Let's just close the dist folder and let's find an HTML. So here we have HTML5 file, as you can see, index.html, and here I can see nice icon as well. So this is a project explorer, guys. You can see all the files here. Next thing, you want to look at the structure. So if I go and click on here, structure, it will show me the structure available in the file. So here I can see the HTML structure right now because I'm in a HTML files. So let me just stop this ESLint. We don't want to talk about this right now. Now if I go to a JavaScript file, let me go to main file. Right now it doesn't have anything. If I click on var a is equal to hello, I'll save it, and now I can see in the structure that I have this variable var a. Okay, if I create a function here, so for example var func is equal to function, and I'll see that in here. So here I can see in the structure that we have a function. So pretty much anything you find here, you will see them in a structure. Variables, functions, constant, string, everything will be here. So you can just navigate from here, whatever available in your file. So that's the structure. I'm going to minimize that. Also, we have a support for gulp, npm, favorites. These are my own configuration. But let's go to the terminal. It has a built-in terminal. If you click on that, it will start a terminal. If you're on a Windows, it will open command prompt. And if you're on a Mac, it will open Unix-based terminal. And if you're on a Linux, it will open terminal as well. We have something called to do. To do is basically, it's a really great thing. For example, right now I have some to-dos here. So here in the source folder, I have this to do here. If I double click on that, it'll tell me this is a to do. So now sometimes you want to write a code where you want to come back to it and change it, you can do that as well. So here if I type to do, and then I'll just go and write some. So let me go and check where were that to do's. How did it write? So okay, to do and text. That's cool. So we'll go to do and I'll say, hey, what's going on? Okay, that's gonna be a comment. So here if I comment this out, that becomes to do. So now when you close the file or commit it or whatever you do, you will see that this is remaining. You want to fix it or you want to commit it direct. Okay, so this is to do's. I'm going to minimize that. Now it has a support. Let's go to tools, or actually go to view tool window. Now we have a terminal, we have a project, we have a structure, we have event logs, remote host, npm. So here you have npm commands, right? You will see all of them. You can execute npm commands right here. Let me just close this project and I'm going to open one of the projects that I was working on that will help us to see more features in Webstorm. Okay, so here you can see the folder structure I have. If I go to structure, and I can see everything available in this file. So I have this init function, current user function, sign out function, stuff like that. Now we go to terminal. We have seen terminal. We have a TypeScript support where you have another tab for TypeScript. It'll show you the TypeScript errors. If you make any error, for example, if there is a function that is expecting a string value, let me just go here. So for example, if I say function ABC and it says A, that would be a string, okay? And now we do just a console.log, let's say A. Okay, now if I use this function right here, let me make this bigger. Okay, so if I say ABC and I'll put in 1, 2, 3, and now in the TypeScript section, you can see I can see errors here. So here we have this says error 37.5. So we have error line 35. Yep, that's one. So it says identifier expected. So if I hover over, it tells me identifier expected error is there, expecting a new line or a semicolon. Right, so I'll do a semicolon. It's giving me an error. It says something wrong here. So basically, it will tell me that this is basically expecting a string. So if I click here, that shows me what is this problem. So it's a function implementation must be ABC. So Now we can see the errors right being in the TypeScript. I'm going to close or remove these. Let me make this file smaller. Okay, so that's the TypeScript support. On the right, I have a few more such as remote host, a Mongo Explorer. So if you are using a Node Express with MongoDB, you will have this Mongo Explorer, which will show you everything in your database, and you can configure it by clicking on this button, and you can do, what the commands that you want to type it in. Okay, that's Mongo support. You can learn it. This is not a tutorial completely showing you every single feature in details, but just going to show you what's available in Webstorm. So if I go to view, I see we have pretty much Docker support as well, npm support as well. So if I go npm, these are the npm commands that I can run. So if I open package.json file, now I can see same scripts here that I can run from this. So they might have a shortcut keys you can set up, but here if you want to run these, you can go to terminal and run these scripts. Now on the top we have this all the files listing. This is like a tabs view for all the files that you can see. Also we have a project, we have a project files, we have a test, we have a problems if there's any problem here, we have a changed file. So we have a full-fledged Git support in this IDE as well. Right, so now I'll show you quickly in edit. So edit, you can do cut, copy, paste. You can find, replace. There's a lot of options about finding, replacing, and next occurrence and previous occurrence. A lot of things that you can do here. All right, so that's view. We can go to, we can open the file directly into browsers. We can have something like changing something. If you want to see the toolbar here, so it'll show you all the toolbars here, but I want to hide it. So I'll just hide that as well. Navigation is a great menu bar because it'll tell you how you can navigate through different files. So if I want to go to class, you click on class and I'll say, hey, give me a login page. So it will basically has a very strong support about Angular, React, and TypeScript will tell you where the things are. Okay, it's a search is great in Webstorm. Now we can do something cool here. For example, I can do a bookmark. For example, I want to do a bookmark here. Okay, so I'll go click on this line, get my arrow there. So for example, my arrow is here now, and I want to just bookmark this line, of course. So I'm going to come back to it anytime I want. I could do it. So we go to navigate, and then go to bookmark, and I'll say toggle bookmark. So here I have this bookmark. That's the arrow now. So if I go to any other file, for example, I'm here right now. So if I want to go to that bookmark, I'll go to bookmark. I'll say show bookmark. That'll show me all the bookmarks available here. You can set the shortcut key for that. And I click on that, that'll take me right where I was on that bookmark. So this is really cool. So you have places where you want to come back, go up and down to your code. You can just bookmark and just navigate around very quickly. There's a lot of more options here. Let's go to the code. Code is basically writing something. For example, if I go and define some sort of like, hey, ABC, I'll do null. So I want to define something, getters and setters for this. If I just select that and I go to code, I go click on generate, it'll tell me what do you want to do. You want to implement members, you want to override methods, getters and setters. If I click on get and setter, it will automatically create a getter setters for me in this file because it has a TypeScript support with these variables I selected. So this is great. Let me just remove this before I break my application. So we have a refactoring. This is great as well. For example, if I go and change this here, rename, and it's going to go and look for this login page, not just text. It will know where this is injected. So it has a strong Angular support as well as other frameworks. So if I change the login page here, it's going to go and change that in my app modules and wherever this folder or this file was imported. So this is really strong that we have in this tool. We have a run feature, so you want to run, debug, just basically running commands here. Tools, we'll talk about this in a second. So we pretty much covered everything here in terms of tools. Now let's go to in specific features which I like about Webstorm. So Webstorm has this built-in Git support. So if I go to tools, view, I go to Windows, and I have something called here version control. So if I click on that, it will open up this version control, which show me all the logs. Okay, what are the commits that I've done in this file? To show you this, let me open up another project. So I'll just do this project, and then I'm just gonna go and show you the logs here. So you can see how you can deal with all the logs here that you have in this project. So let me go back and then change the project to one of my other project here. So basically it has a built-in support for Git. So for example, here you can see a few options. We have this Git refresh. We have this commit. So if you have anything changed here, for example, you change something, your setting have been saved. Cool. So I'll just do here, I'll say commit. It will open up this dialog box and it'll show me what are the files I've changed. I can write a commit message here. Also, I can just do commit and push directly to my server, which is great. Also, we can see local changes which are not committed. We can see logs here. And also, if you go to VCS, we have a separate tab for version control system where we go to Git, and then here we have an option for branches, tags, and also we have something called fetch, pull, push, and we can see what are the remotes that we have for this repository. So this is a complete Git. I will have to make a separate video how to use VCS Git support in Webstorm or any JetBrains IDE. So now let's go to another thing. So a lot of times you will have to do development in your local machine, and you will have to upload your code or a build version to somewhere in the server. So for that, JetBrains IDEs have a built-in support for remote SFTP, and also the SSH client is built into it. So if I go to a different project, let me just open up a different project in this window. Now here I will have something called a support for outer server. So here there is an IP that is running here that's called dev proton. So if I click on this three-dot button, it'll give me this configuration dialog box where you can see that I have set up this different servers running in my network, so I can target basically this IP address. So this is an IP address with the port number. I could do username and password here, and I can directly connect to these servers. And also I can map the folder on that remote server where I want to upload the files and from where I want to upload the files. So this is a great support that you can do here. Also, this has a great feature called automatic upload. So you basically make any change here in your code and you want to make sure that it automatically builds and it uploads to a server. You can set up this automatic upload. Alright, so here we have a configuration. You can go plus, and here I want to select the protocol. So it's support FTP, FTPS, and SFTP. So here you type it in the IP, and then you will basically go and set it up, and it will automatically upload. And then you can do mapping here as well, which is really great tool here. So we have full uploading a remote host feature here in Webstorm, where you can do build, and you can just basically you can upload the build version of your code to any of the server. Usually it goes via Linux. Here we have a full-fledged support for SSH sessions. So if I click on SSH session, I want to click on one of the Proton here, or one of the server that it's running, and it's going to go connected. Right now it's not going to connect because I'm running on local. So for that, I'll go to tools, and I'll go to start SSH session, and I'll do edit credentials, and I'll type in some IP here with port number and username and password, and I'll select the authentication type using SSH key or PuTTY, or I can even type in just the password. I will go and connect and open the SSH connection right here. So the good thing about it is because you can do item here, and you could do SSH from here. But the good thing about it is you don't have to remember the username and password all the time. The Webstorm automatically stores your SSH credentials. So the next time you want to create an SSH session, you can simply go to Tools and then click on one of the server that you want to connect to. It will just automatically remember your username and password, and it will connect you to that server. That as such, that's a deployment. Also, it has a great debugging feature. So for example, if I go to terminal and I will start my application, let me make this like this. So go IONIC serve, okay, and then I can debug the browser right being in the code. So I'm going to bring the application into this desktop. As you can see, our application is running. So here I have this sign in function which gets called when I click on this sign in button. So what I can do to do a debugging here, I'll go and click on edit configuration, and here I can say what kind of debugging I want to do. So if I click on this plus button, it gives me some option. I can debug Cucumber.js, I can debug Dart command line app, I can debug Firefox Remote, I can debug Gulp, I can debug Grunt.js application. So Gulp and Grunt are basically task manager or automated stuff that you can do, that you can use for building your project, and it will have a Webpack support as well. Now what I want to show you is a JavaScript debugger. So anything running on your browser, you can connect to it and you can start debugging it right in your code. And it has a strong support for Angular code, React Native code, and Cordova code, Node.js, Mongo, Mocha, and you can see there's a lot of things that you can debug. So I'm going to select JavaScript Debug. I will name debug, and then I will pass it in the URL, which is http://localhost:8100. All right, I'm going to apply, and I'm going to click OK, and now an error. Let me go and check the configuration again. So it says localhost blah blah blah, that's fine. Apply and close now. And I'm going to click on this debugging, click on that. It will open the application into our browser, and I'm going to take this to the same desktop. Right now, if I go and make a breakpoint here, and I want to click on sign in, it will go and enable the breakpoint right being in the code, and I can see the values that I put in. So here, if I say email, I hover over, it tells me undefined because I didn't type anything in the browser. So you can see it has a really strong debugging tools as well. Now, by default, JetBrains gives you a lot of features, but also that doesn't mean that that's what you only get. So basically you can go to Webstorm Preferences and also go to Plugins. If you see a plugin section here, and here we can click on Browse Repositories, and here you can see you have thousands of plugins created for JetBrains products. For example, if you have something, you want to install something nice UI, you have this Material UI theme which I've already installed. You can check that out, and it will create a nice looking UI for your IDE. By default, it doesn't really look nice, but you can install this material theme and make your IDE the way you want to do it. So let me show you. This is the extension that I installed. It didn't come by default. So if I go to Tools, I'll go to Material Theme, and I go click on, for example, this one. It will change my IDE. Look how cool is that. If I go back and I go change this to, for example, deep ocean color. Oh, that is a lot better now. I really like it. So here, if I go back to Preferences and go to Plugins and click on Browse Repositories, here you can see you have lots of extension, and you can expand this. So Bootstrap is a great framework that you can use to design UIs. By default, this IDE doesn't support that, but you can download this extension, third-party plugin privacy notes. Yeah, that's fine. So you can install this and have a support for Bootstrap, which means it will give you suggestion related to Bootstrap classes and Bootstrap JavaScript, which is gonna really helpful. So along with all these features, one video is not enough. you will have to explode JetBrains at its limit. So there's a lot of things that you could, customize and configure in this IDE. It's not just Webstorm. We have a different tools called basically IntelliJ IDEA for Java, Python for Python, PHP Storm for PHP, RubyMine is for Ruby and Rails, CLi is for C++ developers, AppCode is for app developers. So there's a lot of things available here. Also, when I say it has a strong support for Angular React, that means if you start typing a code, it'll give you some suggestions. For example, we have let's say storage service injecting the constructor. So now if I say, hey, I want to use this, I'm going to say this dot storage. Oh, I'm going to start the function. So I'll just say test me, and inside that this dot storage, you can see how cool is that. It'll give me some suggestion. I'll type dot and give me everything available in that function or in that class or in that object. It goes to the Angular own library or API. Also, it goes for React, Vue.js. It's a great tool. If you start typing code in Webstorm, you'll never want to go back to any other IDE. There's another free option called VS Code, which is one of the great IDE for being free, but also what I'd say, if you pay for $50 for this, it's going to save you tons and tons of time, and it's going to help you to develop app much faster compared to you're going to be using VS Code. I've done a VS Code tutorial video as well. If you have a look at that, I've said the same thing. For being a free, it's a great IDE. But JetBrains Webstorm is one of the best of the best IDE that you can get today for your web development. The only reason I would say it's really great is because also it has a really strong support for every single framework out there. Also, it has so many built-in tools. We have a version control system. We have a Git. We have a Mercurial support. We also have a really good debugger, which you can debug right being IDE. Also, we have SSH. We have a deployment features. We have a bookmarking features. The navigation is great. And if you want to search for anything in Webstorm, for example, if I type double shift, it gives me everything, search everything. Okay, well, I want to search for a function called, let's just say, tabs, and it tells me, oh, there's a recent file that I opened, tabs dash routing dot model. Okay, I have these classes which has this tabs name in that. I have these files which starts with the tabs. Okay, the symbols. Wow, that is great. And if I go click on more, that shows me a lot more related to tabs. Okay, that's really good. So I use this all the time. I have configured it for a lot of projects. If I have a project which I want to upload files to, usually servers, it's already configurable once you can do the configuration, and that's it. You don't have to go to WinSCP on the Windows. You don't have to go to FileZilla on a Mac. So it is overall great. I'll go through features of Webstorm separately in each video. And yeah, that was a quick overview of Webstorm by JetBrains. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn JavaScript, please have a look at my JavaScript course on Udemy. Thanks.